Graders, we are starting a new chapter today, which means there is extra to do, right? Because we're going to do the introduction and we're going to do the first lesson. But the first lesson isn't too tricky, and the introduction helps us kind of get our brains warmed up to the topic. All right, guys, here we are with two-dimensional geometry. That means the flat shapes. And when there's all this color here, it's really glaring on you a little bit, but let's take a look down here at the Curious George question. You might prefer to look at it in your book than on here where it's glaring. Shapes can be found in many places. What shapes might you see on a playground? Now, you did something like this before with those transportation things, looking for three-dimensional shapes. And if you look right here, can you see there's like a half of a sphere? But if you're looking now, just for two-dimensional shapes, you can see there's a circle. You can see triangles made out of these ropes right here. You can see rectangles right here, and that's supposed to be like a circle, but really that's kind of an oval with the angle the picture's at, isn't it? All right, guys, and then again here, this should not be very challenging. Circle the shape that belongs in each group. So here's the group. Which one of these belongs? Here's the group. Which one of these belongs? Circle the shapes with 4 sides. Again, I would imagine that's not very difficult. You're going to have 5 shapes that you circle right there. Identify two-dimensional shapes. You're going to need crayons for this. Color each square blue. Color each rectangle yellow. Color each circle red. This is kind of kindergarten work here, isn't it? These are things that you guys know really well. It's just getting our brains warmed up for this work. All right, so here, circle, hexagon, rectangle, square, triangle. These are our review words. Visualize it. This is where we're going to think, do you know this word really well? Like circle. Is that one you just absolutely know what it is and you could explain it to other people? Sounds familiar. It's one that you kind of, you know what it means, but you couldn't really explain it very well. You don't know it exactly so well so that you could teach someone else, or do you not know it at all? So again, circle, hexagon, rectangle, square, and triangle. Down here, write the number of each shape. So that means count how many there are and write that here. So how many circles are in this picture, how many squares are in this picture, and how many triangles. Again, the game on the other side, you may skip this if you want to, or you can work on doing it on your own, you know, with some of your family members. Now, you guys don't have these shapes, but if you have something like that around your house that you could use, you can try it out. We also don't have a spinner that has these things, but if you want to try to make one, remember the way to make it spin, you can put a pencil here on the inside of a paper clip and then flick the paper clip and it'll go around. All right, so now we are on to lesson 12.1, sort two-dimensional shapes. So when it says draw to sort the shapes, that means you're going to put one set here and one set here. So you're going to sort these shapes to show a group of triangles and a group of rectangles. Draw and write to show how he sorts the shapes. So you can take a look here. Here is kind of a long blue rectangle, right? Here you can see this sort of upside down equilateral triangle. So lateral is something that refers to the sides of things, and equilateral, do you hear equal lateral, equal sides? So here, do you see these equal sides on the triangle? An equilateral triangle is one with equal length sides. Now, you may not be able to draw it exactly, but you can draw it the best you can. You can look here. Now, you'll look at this and say this is a square, but do you remember I said it's a square rectangle because it has these 4 corners that are like on a piece of paper? So people will say, oh, there's a diamond, but a diamond is not a shape in math. So when we're doing math, we don't use that word diamond shape because that's not a thing. This is a cube and it's just kind of at an angle. So you can look at this shape here. Which side does it go on? Take a look at these two. You see how they have open spots? If they have open spots, they're actually not shapes. They're just lines. A shape has to be closed. So those don't count. So you can see these left and put them here, and then we're going to go ahead and write triangle. Do you see that open syllable? Angle. This consonant LE is a type of syllable that we have not studied yet. Now, angle, you know what that is, right? These point parts. Triangle, just like tricycle has 3 wheels, triangle has 3 angles. Rectangle, this kind of corner here that you have like on a piece of paper, we call that a right angle. Can you see how rect and right seem kind of the same? So a rectangle is one that has all right angles on it. All right, turn the page, purple box. Some ways to sort two-dimensional shapes, curved and closed. Do you see those? Closed shapes with how many sides are here? Go ahead and write that number right there. Closed shapes with vertices. Now, vertices are these points out here. You can talk about them as angles also. When you're talking about this inside portion of it, we usually use the word angle. And when you're talking about the point sticking out, we usually say the word vertex. And then when there's more than one vertex, you have vertices. So how many vertices do you have on each of these rectangles? Go ahead and write that number in there. All right, guys, so read the sorting rule and circle the shapes that follow the rule. I'm going to do the first 2 with you, and then you can do the ones that come after on your own. So here's the sorting rule for vertices. Remember, that means these points that stick out. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. That one has 4 vertices. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. That one follows our sorting rule. 1, 2, 3, 4. That follows our sorting rule. 1, 2, 3. That does not follow our sorting rule. We don't circle that. 1, 2, 3. That only has 3 vertices, not 4, so we don't circle that. Not curved. Well, this is all straight lines, right? Right there on that one. Here's also all straight lines. All straight lines, but that has curves. All straight lines. That one has curves. You see this little purple cloud here? This is a good way to think of it too. Vertices are where the sides meet. And that gives you that little point when the sides come together. Only 3 sides. Well, a circle technically, you know, it has an infinite number of sides. It doesn't have any sides because sides are supposed to be straight. This one, 4 sides, so that's not it. Here's 3 sides. That has 4 sides. That one's not it. Here's 3 sides. This one, though, has 4 sides. More than 3 sides. Well, that's just got 1, 2, 3. We don't want that. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's more than 3. That's just 3, but 1, 2, 3, 4. That gives us more than 3. And here's another one with more than 3 sides. Boys and girls, next page. Circle the shapes that follow the rule. Curved, only 3 vertices, 4 sides. 4 sides are the same length. So on this one here, since it kind of has an extra bit of a sorting rule, I'm going to tell you there are 2 to circle. The others you can figure out on your own. So here, draw 2 different two-dimensional shapes that follow both parts of the sorting rule. So 3 sides and 3 vertices. What kind of shape would you draw for that? Remember, you have to draw 2 of them for here that have 3 sides and 3 vertices. Over here again, you need to draw 2 of them, 2 sides long and 2 sides short. Now also notice if there are 2 sides and 2 sides, how many sides does that give you? All right, and 2 of them will be long and 2 will be short. Last page. I've sorted these shapes 3 different ways. Write sorting rules to tell how Ted sorted. So take a look here, boys and girls. You could say triangles, but that's actually not what we're doing. We're going to look here at their features. So that means their sides and their vertices. So you could say this one a couple of different ways. You could say that this has 3 sides, or you could say that it has 3 vertices. That is up to you. All right, guys, take a look here. Again, there are 2 different ways you could say your answer here for number 12. You choose it and write it down now, boys and girls. What could you write here? You have been counting vertices or counting sides, but these shapes don't all have the same number of vertices or the same number of sides, right? Let's go back to something here. Do you see here more? Oh. Now we're not going to use the word more because you can't draw a shape that just has 2. So you couldn't say more than 2 sides because look, here's one side. The only way to make 2 sides is to go back to that. And then I just have a line. So a shape must have at least 3 sides. So that's what we're going to use for words here to start with. At least. And then you can choose. Are you going to say at least 3 vertices? Are you going to say at least 3 sides? Now, you know what? There is one other thing you could say. You could also say less than. These all have less than 5 vertices, don't they? Or less than 5 sides. So you could choose one of those ways to say it. All right, guys. Which shape would not be sorted into this group? So look at this group. See what sorting rule they used. What do these all have in common? And go ahead and color the circle for the one that would not go in this group. Probably not too hard, but we really want to make sure that we're starting to use accurate math words. So instead of talking about corners on the shapes, we are going to be talking about vertices on the shapes. Instead of using words like diamond, we're going to be using words like squares or square rectangle to make sure that we're really using accurate words for this. All right, we will be doing more with 2-dimensional shapes next week. Bye-bye.